Well, you know why you're here. In this video, I'm going to be ranking every single Mario game on the SNES. I believe I've gathered every Mario game from the SNES, but if I left anything out, please let me know in the comments down below. I don't want to waste your time, so let's get on into it. Number 19, Mario's Time Machine. I don't know why Nintendo thought it'd be a good idea to make multiple versions of this game. Before you think this is a cool game about time travel, it's not. It's an educational game. The premise of this game is Mario has to go back in time to stop Bowser from stealing ancient artifacts. The game tries to teach you about historical facts, but a lot of what it teaches you isn't true. It's not exactly a good thing when an educational game gets facts wrong. This game is poorly made any way you look at it. Number 18, Mario is Missing. This game is very similar to Mario's Time Machine. In this game, Mario is kidnapped by Bowser and it's up to Luigi to save him. I don't fully understand the story for this game, but apparently Bowser wants to gather a bunch of hair dryers to melt Antarctica and flood Earth. I'm not lying to you. Don't worry, Bowser, soon enough your plan will work without you having to do anything. In order for Luigi to stop Bowser, he must travel to several geographical locations to gather clues on where to find Bowser. Once again, a lot of the facts this game teaches you are inaccurate. I feel bad that this was Luigi's first spin-off appearance. But hey, he'll always have Luigi's Mansion. Number 17, Mario's Early Years Fun with Numbers. Once again, this is an educational game. The only reason this is ranked better than Mario's Time Machine and Mario's Missing is because at least it didn't fail at fact-checking information. There are 3 Mario's Early Years games designed for young children to learn about basic stuff. And when I say young, I mean 5 years old or less. This particular entry in the series teaches kids numbers. I get that these games are meant to be educational and played by toddlers, but let's be honest, no gamer wants to play them. That's why they're ranked so poorly on this list. Number 16, Mario's Early Years Fun with Letters. Same game as before, but this one teaches you about letters instead. Number 15, Mario's Early Years Preschool Fun. All these games could be interchanged, but I have this one ranked the best because the concepts it teaches you are more broad. This one focuses on shapes, colors, sounds, and more. For what these games are, they aren't too bad. I mean, their purpose is to teach toddlers basic stuff in a fun way, so I can't really say they did a bad job with this. Number 14, Yoshi's Cookie. There's not a lot to say about this game. You just have to fill a row or column with the same type of cookie. It's a pretty forgettable puzzle game. Number 13, Yoshi's Safari. This game isn't very well known. This game uses the Super Scope, which is an old accessory for the SNES that allowed you to point and aim a fake gun at the TV. The idea of this game is to shoot enemies on screen. That's about it. It's not terrible, but it can get old after a while. Number 12, Wario's Woods. This version differs slightly from its NES counterpart in that it has new modes and enhanced graphics. Overall, the idea remains the same. Toad has to stack stuff on top of each other in a forest. This game feels really out of place, but it's not the worst puzzle game I've ever played. Number 11, Mario Paint. This isn't really a game, and rather works more like a computer program. The game even came bundled with the SNES mouse to make drawing easier. Mario Paint is similar to programs like Microsoft Paint, in that it allows you to be creative with your artistic capabilities. This game has lots of cool features, and even includes a music maker mode, which is really cool. There's also the iconic minigame where you have to swat the gnats on screen. This game definitely isn't for everyone, but for the artistic types, it's a home run. Number 10, Dr. Mario. The same iconic puzzle game as before. Mindlessly throw pills in an attempt to connect 4 in a row to clear viruses. If you've played Tetris, like most people have, this game has a very similar feel to that. This game was actually part of a Tetris and Dr. Mario bundle on the SNES, so you couldn't get this game by itself. Number 9, Super Mario Kart. The very first Mario Kart ever. And it isn't very good. For the SNES, this game isn't that bad. Considering everything on the SNES is pixelated, it's surprisingly easy to tell where everything is in this game. Nintendo did a great job of creating the 3D illusion. Now you might be thinking, what's wrong with this game exactly? Well, take Mario Kart. It's an awesome game, right? Well, take that awesome game and give it a lot of drawbacks. This game has only 8 characters, the same 8 tracks being repeated way too many times, bullshit CPUs, broken items, a lack of interesting courses and obstacles, horrendous controls, and just overall is the most basic Mario Kart experience you could ever ask for. The essence of Mario Kart is here, sure, but the game just has too many downsides to be ranked better on this list. Number 8, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. I could see a lot of people disagreeing with this, and I completely understand. Yoshi's Island is a beloved series with lots of cool characteristics. You have Yoshi's iconic moveset, which includes flutter jumping, ground pounding, egg throwing, and more. The level design is superb, with lots of unique obstacles, enemies, locations, and transformations. Yes, Yoshi gets to transform into different things. This really spices up the gameplay of each level. This game is a masterpiece, no doubt about it. So why is it ranked so much more poorly than most people would rank it? Well, I've always had a hard time feeling motivated to play through entire Yoshi's Island games. I'm very picky when it comes to 2D platformers. I find Yoshi's Island has a very slow pace, which for me is a big issue. I can't deny that this game is fantastic, but there are just some other games on this list I enjoy more. Number 7, Donkey Kong Country 3 Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. This was always the least memorable Donkey Kong Country to me. The Donkey Kong Country trilogy is an incredible platforming series full of fun levels and obstacles. This game wasn't significantly worse than the first 2 games in the series, I just found it to be the least interesting of the bunch. In this game, Dixie Kong and Kiddy Kong? Okay. Have to rescue Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong from a giant robot named Chaos. The game itself is pretty good and makes for a fun experience. Number 6, Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy Kong's Quest. Another entry in the Donkey Kong Country series. This one stars Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong on an adventure to save Donkey Kong. There's nothing notable to add here that I didn't say about the third game. Once again, this is a fun platformer. Number 5, Donkey Kong Country, the original Donkey Kong Country. This entry in the trilogy is by far the most iconic. The level design is amazing and sets the standard for all Donkey Kong games following this. Surprisingly, this is the only Donkey Kong Country game on the SNES where you play as Donkey Kong, with Diddy Kong tagging along on the adventure. The objective of this game is to take back Donkey Kong's stolen bananas from King K. Rool. While each game in the Donkey Kong Country series tends to have a lot of jungle-themed levels, each one is very dynamic and stands out very well. Every Donkey Kong Country game has amazing and memorable platforming, hence why these games are ranked so well on this list. Number 4, Super Mario All-Stars. This game is a collection of every 2D Mario game on the NES, including the Lost Levels. You can now play the original Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels, the American Super Mario Bros. 2, and Super Mario Bros. 3 on the SNES. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with the 2D Mario games being ranked better than the Donkey Kong Country games, but here's what I have to say to that. I've always enjoyed the simplicity and relaxation of 2D Mario more than the difficulty of Donkey Kong Country. I know most people probably don't feel the same way as I do, but that's just my own opinion. Plus, a lot of the highly in-depth level design wasn't seen until the revival of the Donkey Kong Country series, meaning the SNES games aren't the peak of the franchise in my eyes. Anyway, Super Mario All-Stars puts a lot of effort into these remakes. Each game has enhanced sprites and controls, as well as the ability to save your progress, which makes Super Mario Bros. 3 much easier to play. These games are way more fun, and having all of them on one cartridge is really cool. Admittedly, this collection would feel kind of boring without Super Mario Bros. 3. The other 3 games in this collection aren't bad. Well, The Lost Levels kind of is, but that's a topic for another day. But Mario 1 and 2 aren't groundbreaking games by themselves. Super Mario Bros. 3 is one of the best Mario games of all time, so having it on the SNES alongside the mainline NES Mario titles is huge. Number 3, Super Mario World. For the longest time, this was my favorite 2D Mario game before Mario Wonder surpassed it. The level design is superb. Each level feels distinct from one another, which is something that's lacking from future 2D Mario games. The enemies are super interesting in this game, and many of them are unique to this game alone. There are lots of cool power-ups at Mario's disposal, like the classic Fire Flower and the overpowered Super Cape. We don't talk about the P-Balloon. Of course, this was the first appearance we saw of everyone's favorite dinosaur, Yoshi. Yoshi is everywhere in this game as we're exploring his island. Yoshi's practically got his entire moveset besides Flutter Jump, meaning he's used as a sacrifice more often than not. Everything about this game slaps. It stood the test of time for very obvious reasons. There are really only two drawbacks to be acknowledged about this game. The first one being Mario's floaty controls. You get used to them after a while, but they can be unbearable at first. The other one, and this is more of a personal issue, is the boss fights. For their time, they were actually really good, but it just seems weird how 3 of them are just harder versions of previous boss fights. I mean, when you really only have a handful of boss fights, repeating some of them seems extremely lazy. But I digress, as the boss fights are still fun regardless. This game is awesome. Number 2, Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World. This is just Super Mario All-Stars and Super Mario World merged onto the same cartridge. It's actually insane having all these games together in one place, especially Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World. These two games are incredible Mario games, so to play them on the same cartridge is unreal. Number 1, Super Mario RPG Legend of the 7 Stars. I finally had a chance to play this game for the first time with the remake that recently came out on the Switch. And while I get that this game and the remake are technically not the same, they kind of are the same. I mean, the only major difference between these games gameplay-wise is the triple move added in the remake. Mario RPG is a really good game. The story isn't anything over the top, but it keeps the game interesting. We also have a unique selection of characters to use in battle. Of course, we have our favorite plumber Mario and the charming Princess Peach, but we also get to play as the ferocious villain Bowser. In addition to the usual suspects, we have 2 new heroes added. Firstly, we have Mallow. He's an underrated cloud thing who's a little timid, but makes for a comedic addition to the crew. Then we have the fan favorite Geno, a plushie possessed by a warrior sent from Star Road to help Mario on his quest. The mechanics of this game work similar to other RPGs. Each character has a certain amount of HP, and certain moves cost FP. You also have items to heal, restore FP, attack, and much more. The enemies in this game are really unique, and the boss fights are a joy to fight. I could go on for hours about this game. There's just so many amazing aspects of it. I'm not even a guy who loves RPGs that much, but this game is just so accessible to anyone that it's impossible not to fall in love with it. The game feels very casual and laid back compared to most RPGs. This game is way ahead of its time and is by far the best Mario game on the SNES. And that's every Mario game on the SNES ranked. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one, but until then, keep being awesome Nintendo fans. Peace out.